We may have another new hero of politics in the form of Coco Khan, writer and presenter of the politics podcast Pod Save the UK, which she co-hosts with comedian Nish Kumar. Okay, she also writes for The Guardian, but nobody's perfect. I'm Mike Sivier from Vox Political. Buy me a coffee and join the video mailing list so you'll never miss a clip. And let's dive straight into this because Ms. Khan was a panellist on Laura Kuenssberg's Sunday show on BBC One, the one representing sanity. Her chance to shine came when she followed up on comments by Science, Innovation and Technology Secretary Peter Kyle. Here they are.
We're trying to do welfare reform, and we will continue to do welfare reform because we've got 3 million people as part of our legacy who are not economically active for health reasons. We need to make sure that those people get the support they need because most people do want to work, and if you do want to work, you should get the support back into work to do so and start contributing.
Why does the state need to be so much bigger?
Here's what she had to say.
Yeah, and I think, he talked a lot about welfare reform, and sometimes that phrase irks me. Just say what it is. It's cuts, isn't it? It's cuts to the most vulnerable who already are getting pitiful sums to survive. There's no evidence that it works. It appears to me to be an appeasement to the right-wing press, to sections of the right-wing public, and I don't think there's any evidence that it will actually help the people that really, really need it. Labour seem very scared of reform. Reform will capitalise on this, and I'm very nervous about reform. I think they will. They play in grievance politics, right? That's what they do. So if people's lives are miserable, then it's perfect for them. So improve people's lives, and I don't think anything he said to me that people's lives were going to get better, that they would get a GP appointment without it being Takeshi's Castle, that they would, not have to worry about children going into care in their schools and their children's classmates. Those things don't seem to be improved.
She's right. People on disability benefits who are going to feel the brunt of Labour's cuts are mostly receiving a pittance and expected to pretend they are living like royalty. They aren't. When you consider the amounts they receive and the rises in the cost of living, it's a miracle the UK isn't crumbling beneath a massive debt burden. There isn't any evidence that cutting disability benefits will help to get disabled people into work. It is far more likely to kill them, as we learned from the 100,000 people who died when the Tories cut disability benefits between 2011 and 2019. Funny how nobody mentions them or seeks justice for their deaths, isn't it? It's as if the loss of a population the size of Worthing, Rochdale or Solihull was of no significance at all. But the cuts will affect people differently, meaning other public services will have to take the strain that will be passed on to them by the Department for Work and Pensions, most notably the National Health Service and local social services departments. The cost of this work will either eat up any savings made from the cuts altogether or, more likely in my opinion, outgrow them. She says the cuts are an attempt to appease the right-wing press, and this is likely true. Disability benefit cuts may be used as a tool to demonstrate ideological alignment with right-wing values of self-reliance, reduced state intervention, and fiscal conservatism, values frequently promoted by the UK's right-wing press. Appeasing these outlets can be politically advantageous, especially in a polarised or economically constrained environment. But there is very little legitimate value in the current push to cut disability benefits, economically, morally, or socially. The arguments made in right-wing media oversimplify, rely on myths, and often act as a cover for austerity politics or ideological bias. So yes, much of it is about attacking people who can't fight back, whether for votes, headlines, or ideological consistency. She is absolutely right to say that Reform UK relies on grievance politics and that by pandering to that, Labour is betraying its purpose. Grievance politics grows where people feel powerless and neglected. The antidote isn't more fear or scapegoating, it's dignity, opportunity and security. That means building affordable housing, fixing the NHS, investing in good local jobs, supporting communities, not punishing them, and making social security dignified and accessible. The issue was then framed as a straight choice between cutting benefits and increasing taxes. Here's what Ms. Khan had to say about that.
It's strange because I think Labour, in a way, have made a rod for their own back. And I get that Labour has received ongoing criticism that they're not good with money. So they need to show that they're so good with money that they're basically the Tories, which is not what anybody voted for. The poster said change. I mean, I'd call trading standards, but I think they probably had their funding cut anyway. I think that we're sort of talking around the houses a little bit. There's 50 families in the UK that have as much money as 50% of the population combined. There is money in the UK, and we're all talking about taxes. Oh, taxes aren't equal. Yeah, taxes on working people who earn average amounts. Yeah, we don't want to see their tax burden go up. But there are ultra wealthy people who are not paying enough. There are companies who are tax dodging, in my view, who are not doing enough. We can find money, and Labour's painted themselves in the corner by saying we're going to stick to these fiscal rules. Do they need to do that right now? They have some leeway. I know Rachel Reeves has tweaked it a bit and has managed to release more money than Mr Hunt did. But again, this is tinkering around the edges. It doesn't improve people's material conditions. It doesn't make them feel safer. And that is just perfect for Nigel Farage.
That line about trading standards is golden. It isn't true that the top earning 50 families have more money than the rest of the UK combined. They actually have about a quarter of the wealth of the bottom 50%. But it is one of the most glaring and persistent features of modern tax injustice that the ultra-wealthy pay significantly less tax as a percentage of their wealth than people at the bottom or middle of the income scale. Ms Khan is right to call for Labour to change its fiscal rules because while they don't stop Labour changing taxes, they do constrain the ways this is possible. Notice that fellow panellist Dan Snow admits he could pay more tax.
Dan?
I think that I could afford to pay more tax. So I think it's going to be, I think given the unparalleled series of challenges that face us, I think we do have to be realistic about accepting that.
Ms Khan finishes on a high note, calling for tax to be rebranded to make people proud of paying it.
I'm really glad to hear you say you could pay more tax. I would happily pay more tax. Tax is cool. I feel we need a rebrand of tax. Tax is a good thing. It's the only vehicle we have to stop the ultra rich taking complete advantage of us. And also, my bins only get collected every 2 weeks. I'm very sad about it. I would pay more tax. I'd like to see more people be proud of tax.
This could backfire if people decided to use it as a symbol of one-upmanship over their neighbours. The answer, I think, would be to point out that everybody pays taxes of some sort, from VAT on the goods we buy to taxes on fuel in vehicles, energy bills, that's VAT again, sin taxes, alcohol, tobacco, the sugar levy, council tax and gambling taxes. It could work if branded properly. You have to wonder why Labour doesn't bother. Put it all together and, well, it's possible that Pod Save the UK could get a slightly larger audience. Right? I've been Mike Sivier of Vox Political, and if you found this useful, or if you believe in independent political journalism, help me keep it going. Donate £20 or more and I'll send you a copy of my book, Strong Words in Hard Times. Links below. Thank you for watching, and you'll see me in the next one.